The weight of my sleeping newborn felt reassuring against my chest as I turned the key to our front door. After 5 days in the hospital dealing with complications from an emergency C-section, I was beyond ready to start our quiet life at home with baby James. My husband David had gone ahead to make sure everything was perfect for our homecoming, or at least, that's what he promised when he left the hospital an hour ago. The first warning sign should have been the dozens of cars lining our usually quiet suburban street. The second should have been the muffled sounds of conversation and laughter drifting through our front door. But exhaustion and pain medication had dulled my usually sharp instincts. The moment I stepped inside, my peaceful homecoming fantasy shattered. Our modest living room was packed with people, elderly women clutching casserole dishes, families with young children, and what appeared to be half of my mother-in-law Patricia's church congregation, all of them crowded around something I couldn't quite see, cooing and taking pictures. "Oh, there she is!" Patricia's shrill voice cut through the chaos. "Everyone, this is my daughter-in-law, Jessica, the surrogate." The word hit me like a physical blow. Surrogate? Where's my beautiful grandson? Patricia pushed through the crowd, but stopped short when she saw James sleeping against my chest. Her face twisted into an expression I'd seen too many times over the past year. Disappointment mixed with barely concealed disgust. That's when I finally saw what everyone had been photographing. In the center of the room, my sister-in-law Kate was holding a baby boy who couldn't have been more than a few weeks old. A baby I'd never seen before. "Patricia," I kept my voice low, conscious of my sleeping son. "What's going on here? Who are all these people?" "Just a few friends from church who've been praying for my real grandson to come home," she said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "I know you did your best carrying him, dear, but it's time to hand him over to his actual family." The room fell silent. Dozens of eyes turned to stare at me, many filled with judgment, and whispered conversations started up again. I caught fragments that made my blood run cold. Poor thing, getting so attached. Knew she'd be difficult about giving him up. Wonder how much they paid her. My C-section scar throbbed as I tried to make sense of what was happening. David chose that moment to emerge from the kitchen, his face pale. "Mom, what did you do?" "We talked about this." "I did what needed to be done," Patricia cut him off. "That baby Jessica's holding. Look at him, blonde hair, blue eyes. Obviously not from our family's strong Italian genes, but Kate's little Anthony here." She gestured to the baby my sister-in-law was holding. "He's got our dark coloring. He's a true Matthews." The room spun slightly. Was she actually suggesting? "Mom," David's voice shook with anger. "James is my son, your grandson. We showed you the ultrasound photos. You were there for the gender reveal," which she conveniently scheduled when Kate was too sick with morning sickness to attend. Patricia snapped. "It all makes sense now, doesn't it?" The way she insisted on delivering at a different hospital than Kate, the private room, not allowing visitors. Because I had complications. I finally found my voice. I almost died on that table. "Oh, here we go with the dramatics." Patricia rolled her eyes. "Ladies, this is exactly what I warned you about. The surrogate getting too attached, making up stories." I felt David's hand on my lower back, steadying me. The familiar touch grounded me enough to think clearly. With my free hand, I reached for my phone. "Patricia," I said quietly, my calm tone at odds with the rage building inside me. "I'm going to give you one chance to end this right now. Tell everyone the truth, or I'm calling the police to report an attempted kidnapping." The threat didn't have the effect I'd hoped for. Instead, Patricia's face lit up with triumph. "Go ahead, call them. Let them sort out which baby belongs to which mother. I have witnesses here who've been following both pregnancies through our church prayer group. They'll verify that Kate's due date matched when my real grandson was born." That's when I noticed Kate wouldn't meet my eyes. She was staring down at the baby in her arms. A baby that, now that I looked closer, shared no resemblance to the Matthews family at all. "Kate," I said softly, "where did that baby come from?" Before she could answer, the front door opened again. A tall man I'd never seen before burst in, his face red with anger. "Where is he? Where's my son?" The chaos that erupted next happened so fast I could barely process it. Kate burst into tears. The stranger started shouting out stolen babies and custody agreements. Patricia went pale, her perfect plan crumbling around her. And through it all, my beautiful James slept peacefully against my chest. unaware that his grandmother had just tried to replace him with another woman's stolen child. David pulled out his phone and dialed 911, his voice steady as he reported an attempted kidnapping and baby switching scheme. As sirens wailed in the distance, Patricia made one last desperate attempt to salvage her plan. "I did this for you, David. That baby Jessica's holding can't be yours. Look at him, he's nothing like us. I found you a proper heir, a true Matthews." "That's enough." David's voice thundered through the room. "Mom, you need help. Professional help. And after today, you won't be anywhere near my wife or my son until you get it." The crowd of strangers began to disperse, many looking shamefaced as they realized they'd been made unwitting accomplices in Patricia's scheme. As the first police car pulled up outside, I caught Patricia watching me with a mixture of hatred and desperation. "This isn't over," she hissed. "That baby isn't a real Matthews. I'll prove it." I looked down at my sleeping son, then back at my unhinged mother-in-law. "You're right about one thing, Patricia. This isn't over, but you have no idea what's coming next. Because in my hospital bag, still packed with post-delivery necessities, was an envelope. An envelope containing the results of a DNA test David and I had done months ago. One that would not only prove James was his father's son, but reveal a secret about the Matthews bloodline that would shatter Patricia's world forever. But that would have to wait until after the police sorted out this mess. For now, I had a newborn to protect and a mother-in-law to watch being led away in handcuffs. The next few hours passed in a blur of police statements and tears. Kate broke down completely, admitting that Patricia had convinced her to participate in an elaborate scheme. The baby she'd been holding belonged to a young couple from a neighboring town. Patricia had arranged a private adoption without their knowledge, somehow manipulating hospital records and taking advantage of the couple's financial struggles. As I sat in our now empty living room nursing James, I watched David pace back and forth, running his hands through his dark hair, a nervous habit he'd had since childhood. The police had taken his statement, but they wanted us to come to the station tomorrow for a formal report. They'd also arrested Patricia, though she'd been eerily calm as they led her away, still insisting she'd done nothing wrong. "I just can't believe she went this far," David muttered, stopping to look at a family photo on the wall, taken at our wedding, before Patricia's obsession with having a true Matthews hair had completely consumed her. "She actually stole someone's baby, Jess. She could go to prison." "She should go to prison," I replied, adjusting James as he finished feeding. His wispy blonde hair caught the evening light, so different from the dark Italian features Patricia had been fixated on. "David, we need to show them the envelope." He stopped pacing, his face tightening. "Are you sure? Once we open that door. Your mother tried to steal our son and replace him with another woman's baby. I think we're past protecting family secrets." The envelope had been burning a hole in my hospital bag for months. We'd gotten the DNA test done privately after my first miscarriage, when Patricia's comments about my inferior genes had become too much to bear. But the results had revealed something far more complicated than simple paternity. A knock at the door made us both jump. David checked the security camera, a feature we'd installed after Patricia's behavior started escalating during my pregnancy. "It's Kate," he said, surprised. She'd been taken to the station for questioning hours ago. When David opened the door, his sister looked nothing like the polished, put-together woman who usually served as Patricia's perfect daughter. Her makeup was streaked with tears, her designer outfit rumpled. "They let me go with a warning," she said, her voice hoarse. "Since I cooperated and the baby wasn't actually in my custody for more than an hour." She turned to me, fresh tears spilling. "Jessica, I'm so sorry. Mom said she had proof the baby wasn't David's, that she was protecting the family." "What proof?" David demanded. Kate pulled out her phone, showing us a series of text messages. She said she had James's DNA tested secretly at the hospital. She showed me results claiming he wasn't a genetic match to our family. I should have known they were fake, but she was so convincing. I exchanged a look with David. "Should we?" He nodded, disappearing into our bedroom to retrieve the envelope. "Kate," I said gently, "your mother didn't fake those test results. She just misinterpreted them. We have proof." David returned with the envelope, his hands shaking slightly as he opened it. "Before you see this, Kate, you need to understand, I love our family. Finding this out doesn't change who I am or who James is." "You're scaring me," Kate whispered. David pulled out the papers, laying them on the coffee table. 3 months ago, we had genetic testing done. Not just paternity testing, but a full genetic panel. We wanted to understand why Jessica had miscarried, to make sure there weren't any hereditary issues we needed to worry about. Kate leaned forward, scanning the medical jargon until she reached the conclusion. Her face went white. This can't be right. It is, I said softly. The reason James doesn't have the classic Matthews features isn't because he's not David's. It's because your father isn't who you think he is. The DNA results showed clearly that David, and by extension, Kate and their siblings, had no genetic connection to Richard Matthews, the man they called father their entire lives. Their actual biological father was someone else entirely. Mom's been so obsessed with the Matthews bloodline, the Matthews features, David said quietly. But we were never Matthews by blood, just by name. Kate's hands were shaking as she read through the results again. Does he know? We don't think so, I replied, and we weren't going to tell anyone. But now, with your mother's accusations, her desperate attempts to prove James isn't family. She must have suspected, Kate whispered. All these years she must have known there was a chance. Is that why she's been so desperate to prove the Matthews genes are strong? To convince herself her own lie was true. Before either of us could respond, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. My blood ran cold as I read it. It's from Patricia, I said. She made bail. The message was simple but chilling. You think you've won? Wait until Richard sees the photos I took today. Wait until everyone knows you tried to pass off another man's baby as a Matthews heir. I raised my children to protect this family's legacy, and I won't let you destroy it. She's going to tell Dad, Kate breathed. She's going to try to turn this around on you guys. David took James from my arms, holding him close. Our son blinked up at him with those blue eyes Patricia had been so quick to condemn, eyes that now seemed like a ticking time bomb of truth. No, David said firmly. We're done letting her control this narrative. Kate called Tom and Emma. Get them here tonight. Dad, too. It's time everyone knew the truth. All of it. As Kate made the calls, I watched my husband cradle our son, seeing the love that transcended DNA in every gentle touch and soft word. Patricia had been so obsessed with blood and legacy that she'd lost sight of what really made a family. But as headlights appeared in our driveway and car doors slammed outside, I knew the real storm was just beginning. Because somewhere across town, Patricia Matthews was also preparing for war, and she had 30 years of secrets to protect. The Matthews family gathered in our living room, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Richard Matthews sat in his usual armchair, looking confused but concerned. Tom and Emma, David's other siblings, perched nervously on the couch beside Kate, who hadn't stopped crying. James slept peacefully in his bassinet, unaware that his tiny existence had sparked the unraveling of a 30-year-old secret. Someone better explain what's going on, Richard said, his authoritative voice filling the room. I've got Patricia calling me hysterical about baby switching and DNA tests, and now this emergency family meeting. Before anyone could respond, the front door burst open. Patricia stormed in, her perfectly coiffed hair wild and her designer outfit wrinkled from her brief stint in jail. She brandished her phone like a weapon. Perfect timing, she announced, her voice pitched too high. Now everyone can see the truth about your precious daughter-in-law's deception. Mom, stop, David warned, but Patricia was already connecting her phone to our TV through screen sharing. Photos from earlier filled the screen, me holding James side by side with old Matthews family photos. Look, Patricia pointed frantically. Look at the evidence. No Matthews has ever had blonde hair or blue eyes. This woman has tried to pass off some other man's baby as our flesh and blood. Richard stood slowly, his face darkening. Patricia, that's enough. Our grandson is not your grandson. Patricia screamed. I have proof. I had him tested. No, Mom, David's voice cut through her hysteria. We had him tested. We have the real results right here. And you're right, James doesn't have Matthew's DNA. But neither do I. Neither do Kate, Tom, or Emma. The room went deadly silent. Richard sank back into his chair, the color draining from his face. Patricia froze, her phone slipping from her trembling fingers. What are you talking about? Richard whispered. I watched as David handed his father the envelope we'd been holding onto for months. Richard's hands shook as he read the results, his expression shifting from confusion to shock to something deeper, a pain so profound it hurt to witness. 30 years, Patricia's voice was barely audible. I kept this secret for 30 years. You knew? Richard looked up at his wife, tears in his eyes. All this time, you knew they weren't. I had to protect our family. Patricia's composure cracked completely. You were always working, building your business. I was lonely. Charles, he was there, he understood me. It was only supposed to be once, but then I got pregnant with David. And you were so happy. Charles? Emma's voice shook. Uncle Charles? Dad's best friend? Patricia nodded, tears streaming down her face. He moved away when I found out I was pregnant with Kate. Said he couldn't watch his best friend raise his children. But by then, I was trapped in the lie. Each time, I convinced myself it would be the last time, but each time, Tom stood up looking ill. All of us. I'm so sorry, Patricia sobbed. I just wanted to keep our family perfect. When Jessica got pregnant and I saw those blonde curls in the ultrasound, I knew everyone would finally see the truth. I couldn't let that happen. I had to find a baby that looked like a real Matthews. So you stole someone else's child? Richard's voice was ice cold. Try to destroy our son's family to protect your lies? I did it for you, Patricia screamed. Everything I did was to protect your name, your legacy. My legacy? Richard stood, his dignity palpable even in this devastating moment. My legacy is the love I gave these children. The bedtime stories, the scraped knees I bandaged, the proud moments I witnessed. DNA doesn't make a father, Patricia. Love does. He turned to David, then to James in his bassinet. Just like that beautiful boy is my grandson, no matter what any test says. Patricia crumpled to the floor, decades of deception finally crushing her. Please, he whispered. Please don't leave me. Richard looked at her with a mixture of pity and resignation. I already left the divorce papers on your desk this afternoon, along with evidence of your attempted kidnapping. You need help, Patricia. Professional help. As if on cue, police sirens wailed in the distance. Someone, probably Kate, had called them when Patricia violated her bail conditions by coming to our house. Dad, David said softly. We never wanted this to come out. We just wanted to protect our son. Richard crossed the room and picked up James, who blinked sleepily at his grandfather. You did the right thing. Sometimes the truth hurts, but lies. He looked at Patricia as police cars pulled up outside. Lies destroy everything they touch. As the police led Patricia away, this time in handcuffs and facing serious charges, I watched my family, because they were my family, genetics be damned, begin the long process of healing. There would be therapy sessions, legal proceedings, and many difficult conversations ahead. But as Richard held James, pointing out how the baby had David's nose despite the blonde hair, I knew we would be okay. Because in the end, Patricia had been so focused on blood and genetics that she'd missed the most important truth. Family isn't about DNA. It's about love, acceptance, and the choices we make every day to protect and support each other. And as I watched my son fall asleep in his grandfather's arms, I knew he would grow up understanding that truth better than Patricia ever could.